Hello, YTPC. This is Smoking Cardboard, and I'm here to do my weekly video. This is going to be a long one. I'll put the time tags in there. This will probably interest a quarter of the amount of people that normally have interest in my videos. As the topic implies. But I think it's worth doing the video over. So, first, I'm smoking my Martinsky Billiard Coral Rusticated. And in it, I am smoking H&H Burley Flake. I got this. And I tried it for the first time this week, just kind of wanting to compare it to the Amphora Burley. And it's really pleasant. I would say very similar to the Amphora Burley. Right now, I'm getting very floral notes. But earlier when I had it today, and the other times, has been very woodsy. I don't know. I also want to thank and note, this week I got a package from Chelsea at Duza Pipes. If you haven't checked out her channel, check it out. She's just a kind, generous, thoughtful pipe smoker. She really embodies the best of the YTPC. And she was just out of the blue, decided to send me something. And I was very surprised. She had a Peterson Sherlock Holmes tin in it, I think. It was a Virginia. Haven't had it. And then she had a Mac Baron I'm drawing a blank now. A Burley. Man. I don't have the tins with me right now. But it was, man, I can't remember that. But she had it from 2005. So either way, I'll be opening that soon and giving it a try. So you'll see it then. Golden Extra, I think is what it's called. Yeah. Anyway, that was way too long. So, sub her channel, or at least check it out. I really appreciate her videos, and, you know, she does a lot of giveaways and stuff. She's very generous lady. So, this video about board games. So, I am going to give everybody the rundown of board games from a perspective of a noob knowing not much about board games, and with the mindset that the holidays are coming and you're buying presents for people and you're sitting there going, what in the world am I going to buy my son or daughter or my granddaughter or grandson, nieces, nephews, spouse. Forgot my water. Got Gatorade. This is what was in the shop. Anyway. So I'm just going to say it this way. I'm probably going to put a decent amount of effort into this. So it's going to take a long time to get through this. You're going to either want to watch the whole thing or none of it. So I'm completely okay if you're like, go on to the other pipe videos. There's so many out there. All right, so starters. What do I mean by board games? Well, board games have been a thing for a very long time. You guys have your favorites. Everybody knows a board game. Everyone plays a board game. Everyone owns a board game. But since the mid-90s, really the late 90s, board games have kind of exploded. New games were always being designed and played, but it was extremely niche hobby. You just rarely hear about new games, so on and so forth. So when I'm talking about board games, I'm talking about modern games. So pretty much most all these games are from the late 90s to current. That is when they've been designed and published. So no, I'm not talking about Monopoly and Sorry and anything like that. I'm talking about the new stuff. So as far as catching you up, there's a lot of similarities to board games as there are pipe smoking. There are light, medium, heavy games, just like there are light, medium, heavy tobaccos. Usually it's not a good idea for people to jump in on the heavy end, though some people do it and have a great time. I've been playing board games since 2003 for real modern games. Grew up playing Monopoly and all the regulars. So I'm pretty well decided. I know what I like and all this sort of stuff. But this isn't about what I like. This isn't about what I think is the best game. This is more kind of bringing you up to speed and introducing you to titles that those people I already mentioned you might be buying gifts for or yourself might actually enjoy. So they're mostly going to be on light side of board games or medium. Very few are really all that medium, but when you first start off, a light board game can feel like it's a lot of thinking, and this is really complicated because you're used to knowing all the rules to any game that you've ever played before you sit down at the table. So I'm going to start off with the modern classics. All right, I'm going to turn the camera here so I can maybe show off some of these pictures. Hopefully I can figure this out because I've never put pictures. All right, so classics. So these are games that have been around since the early 2000s up until later than that, 2010. But they're tried and true. You're going to find these type of games in Walmart or Target everywhere. These are very popular games that have, hundreds of thousands of copies, if not millions, made, which is a lot for board games. For context, currently maybe 800 games are produced every year, as in these are new titles to hit the market. Maybe it's 600, somewhere around there. That is a lot of board games to come out every single year. And so the reality is a lot of those board games are trying to sell maybe 3,000 copies, somewhere around there. So when we talk about hundreds of thousands of board games, this is a very successful board game. So, new classics. We have Catan. This is, in some senses, the game that started it all. I'm not going to go into about all these games, but I'm going to try to describe some of the mechanisms in the games. This is similar to, is this tobacco of Virginia, Burley, or an English or something like that. So Catan is a game where you are trying to build up an empire, let's say, that's a generous description, on an island, and every single time you play the board is different because you lay it out in tiles. You are trading with other people, so there's negotiation, but you're also rolling dice to get resources to build up your empire. Hugely popular. Then we have Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride is a set collection game. You're trying to collect trains to connect destinations with whatever color there is on it. Basically, this game is very fast turns, and the turns just keep going until the game ends. You only have like 3 choices, and the game's very simple, but there's a lot of strategy, and the more you play it, you will see some of that strategy develop. There are a lot of different maps and new games that they've made to change on the original rules. Catan and Ticket to Ride are going to be the 2 biggest sellers on this for longevity, but there might be one other one that might be bigger. So, it's a great family game. All these are great family games, except for maybe one that I mentioned is not cool. Yeah, it's still a great family game. All right, then we have Carcassonne. Carcassonne is a tile laying game. You are randomly drawing a tile, and then you are placing it on the board, and you're putting people on it, taking people off, so on and so forth to score points. The goal of the game is to score the most points, but it's really fun fitting these tiles together and making this French countryside. A million expansions for this game to add complexity. It starts out very simple and can become a little bit more strategic with the expansions. All right, that's Carcassonne. Then we have Pandemic. Fitting for where we are on right now. Pandemic is a cooperative game. So instead of the rest of these games that I previously mentioned, you're all on the same team. This, here you're just trying to find a cure for all these diseases around the world, and you're working together. You're special scientists that have special powers, and you're working against the game. The game's just kind of being against you. As you go through the game, things get harder and things speed up, and it just you get outbreaks and stuff like that. You can eradicate some diseases, but the goal is to just find vaccines for all the 3 viruses or 4 viruses that are out there. So that's a great one if some people in the family are very, 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 very competitive and not very fun to play with, because now you're on the same team and it can be a little bit more fun. The downside is if someone really likes strategizing, they can just tell everybody what they should be doing. But a very popular game. They also have many versions of this game. Then we have a party game more called Codenames. This is the one that could have the most copies made. Probably not more than Catan, but maybe. This one you just are in 2 teams, so it's semi-cooperative. One person's giving a clue for their team, and the other person's giving a clue for their team. You're looking at a bunch of words. You have to get them to guess your which words you're wanting them to guess, but they could accidentally guess the wrong words. So it's a little bit tricky. All these words have like double meanings, like bark, where it could be the tree bark or a dog barking. So there's just a lot of depth. They did an excellent job with this game. It can get a little slow as people have a hard time coming up with really good clues. So this one can be really successful with people who like word games, and it can be really tough with people who are like, don't want to think. Or at least if they're the clue giver. It's really easy to play as the guesser because you can just kind of point. But the clue giver is a little bit harder position. I wrote down Betrayal House on the Hill. I played this game a couple times. It's not my favorite, but it's very popular. Basically, you're all on the same team, and you're slowly building this house, but then something happens, and a scenario starts, and there's a bunch of different scenarios in the rules, and suddenly someone is like against everybody, but you're trying to figure out who it is, and you're playing this game board, and trying to beat the baddie that was your friend. So that one's pretty much better with like the teens or adults that like that sort of thing. Another game is King of Tokyo. King of Tokyo is kind of these monsters are fighting over destroying Tokyo, and you're trying to kill the other monsters. It's really kind of just a brawling fun. This is great for all ages, and by all ages I mean probably 6 years old and up, maybe 8. So it's just a really fun roll of dice, choose actions that are on the dice and do them, and you're trying to kill each other. Just cartoony and fun. And then I picked 2 kid games that are classic. By kid games, I mean, well, one's really little kids. Animal Upon Animal. Every single little kid should grow up with this game. You just have little wooden animals, and you're rolling a die, and you either have to you're trying to stack these animals on top of each other without them falling over, and whoever can get rid of their animals first wins. It's just super simple, super fun. It's a fun game for like the adults to play with the kids, but this is like under 3 maybe. You could if they're advanced, or like 3 years old to like 6 is kind of the prime for this game. But you know, honestly, this could be a really good, the little kid games that are good are often really good if you're like intoxicated and want to play a game, because they're low thinking, they're more dexterity, which you're kind of like a toddler at that point. And then the other one is Rhino Hero Super Battle. This one's better for probably like 5 years and older, or 6. Another dexterity game, meaning it's about balance and stuff. So you're stacking these cards, and you're just trying to not make the tower fall, or you are trying to get the tower to fall because you're on top, and whenever the tower falls, whoever was highest up the tower wins the game. So those are some of the modern classics. So like all these games, not all of them, like most all these games you would be able to find in a Target. All right, these are very popular games. If I saw someone had all these games, you know, I would be like, these are great games to just have in a family's cupboard. All right, these are really good games to explore. I have played all of them. A lot of them are especially good for like the junior higher level. Especially and stuff like that. So like the King of Tokyo, that's a great one. The Rhino Hero Super Battle, that's pretty fun. Betrayal House on the Hill, Pandemic, and then the other ones can be great for adults, like Catan, Ticket to Ride, Dominion, Carcassonne, Pandemic, again, code names. So, those are the modern classics. Check them out. If you want to kind of go heavier, I recommend games from Stonemaier Games and Plan B. Now, again, these aren't heavy games. They're medium to medium light. If you want to go heavy games, like, it's a whole nother rabbit hole I'm not doing here. Even medium games, most people in the board game community would say none of these games are medium. Maybe Dominion. None of these games are really medium. So we're really sticking to the bottom half of the scale. And anything, I think, middle or higher is just going to be difficult from a learning rules perspective and just thinking right off the gate. You might find these games are awesome and you really like them. You want something a little bit more meaty, that's fine. Or if you just start like, I hate simple games, I really enjoy something meaty all the time, that's fine. Go to boardgamegeek.com. It'll tell you all about those games. All right. So, I'm doing pretty good here, 22 minutes. I'm going to give you a tip if you want to find the new game that is coming out that's probably really good. And that is, there is a organization in Germany where apparently in Germany, board games are a really big thing. They're part of the culture. People buy games and play games. And so, since like, I don't know, the late 80s, maybe before that, there's been this group called the Spiel des Jahres. And I'm not really sure what that means exactly in German, but I think it's German Game of the Year. So there are 3 categories for the German Game of the Year. There's just the regular German Game of the Year. And then there's the Kids Game of the Year, which is the Kinderspiel. And then you have the Advanced German Game of the Year, which is called the Kennerspiel. Now, the advanced game is kind of like not complicated. Like, they are generally do not reach medium weight in games. So none of these are going to be difficult. These are all within range of normal players. So each year in the spring, they nominate 3 for each category. And then by the end of the summer, they announce the winner. Now, most of these games, in order to be considered, it has to have a German publisher and a German rules and game like that. So some of these games might not be on the English US market at all. Like, you wouldn't be able to get this game unless you lived in Europe type thing. But as soon as that game wins, boom, you know that someone who publishes games in America is going to get the deal, going to print the copies, bring them over, sell them, and then by the next year cycle, you will see these games in board game stores. probably not the Walmarts and Targets. I usually buy those games online, and I wouldn't buy them. Tangent. Buying games online is really difficult. You could be not supporting the publisher, because if you buy your games off eBay or Amazon, a lot of games that are really popular, like all these ones I'm mentioning, Chinese manufacturing companies are coming on, buying the game, just duplicating it, and then making them without getting the rights to make them. So they're generally not the same quality, lower quality, and they're not paying for the rights to have the game. So it's just a real big problem that Amazon hasn't figured out yet, nor has eBay. So I don't buy games from those, even though they're way cheaper, because they have over half the games sold there at Counterfeit. So I'll put links for this, but I'd buy them at coolstuffinc.com or miniaturemarket.com, or if you're going to buy a lot of games, I'd get them from Card House or your local board game store. Those are fine too. All right, so the games that have come out in recent years that are excellent, that have won these awards, is in 2018, the Spiel des Jahres winner was Azul. This is a great game. Everyone should have this game in their house, kind of game. It plays well. It plays up to 4. You are collecting tiles. It's kind of a no-theme game, you know. It's a little bit more like chess or checkers, where you're kind of doing something. That's not exactly it either. You're collecting tiles and creating these small sets and trying to create diagrams. I don't know. I'm not doing a very good job explaining this without having the game out in front of me. But it's a simpler game. It's fun to play. There's good strategy in it. It's quick. Then in 2018, the Kennerspiel, so the more advanced game, which I think is not all that advanced, but it is fun. It is a press your luck game. So when do you choose to quit? It's kind of forgiving though. Like, it's fun to keep pressing your luck, because a lot of times it doesn't matter so much if you bust. But you're making a pot, and you're putting in your pot or bag these little tokens of different ingredients, and you're making this witch's brew. Did I say the game? Quacksalber of Quedlinburg. Quacks of Quedlinburg is what we call it, but it's got a funky name. I guess you see it on the picture. And it's just a fun game. So then you're putting different ingredients, and the different ingredients, when you take them out, they do like an action, and you kind of build on those actions. And then the Kennerspiel for that one was, I don't know. I didn't write it down. But it's a Haba game. All the Haba games are great for kids. They have ages on them. They're yellow boxes, and they say Haba on them. So any one of those are going to be a modern, pretty good game. Like, that company only makes kids games. All right. In 2019, the Spiel des Jahres winner was Just One. And this is a party game. It is cooperative. So if you want another cooperative game, you are all working together to give a clue to someone. So it's just one, meaning just one word. So you're trying to get the person to say a specific word, and you can only give them a one-word clue, but everyone's giving them a one-word clue, and you're all revealing your clues at the same time to each other. And if any of the clues overlap each other, they can't see them. So you're trying to think of like unique words that no one's going to think about. Oh, but someone's got to think about the really obvious words, and kind of balancing that. And then they look at the words that are remaining, and then they go, is it this word? And so then you just keep going around the circle. It's a fun game. The Kennerspiel, so the advanced game, was Wingspan. Now, Wingspan is, so this is all from 2019. Wingspan is a medium weight game. It's shorter though, so it kind of falls a little bit under there, but there's a lot of rules, a lot of stuff in this game. It's very nice production. It's kind of interesting though, in that it's a board game about birds. You're collecting, you have a handful of different birds, and you have trying to play them into these 3 different environments you have for them, like swamps, forest, and the grasses. And the cards kind of combo next to each other, and you have goals to get like wingspan of over, whatever it is, 53 inches, or maybe it's have so many birds in the marshlands or whatever. So it's a really cool theme, a cool game that is very strategic. It's supposed to play like in an hour type thing, and the production is fantastic. It looks great. And that's a Stonemaier game. So earlier when I said a Stonemaier game make lots of really good medium weight games, that's one of them. And then the kids game was Valley of the Kings. This is kind of like you have these pins in the middle, and you like use a paddle to hit a ball into them. And whichever guys you knock down, you move these tokens, and you're trying to collect money. So there's a little bit of strategy. You get to set up the little pillars so that maybe I'll protect the ones from getting knocked down that don't want to. Or there's a little strategy in how hard you hit it and stuff. So it's it's a good game. I mean, it won. Then this year, the games that you probably won't see, maybe you would start to see it now in the board game stores, but most likely next summer. The Spiel des Jahres is pictures. All this talking, hard to keep my pipe up. You basically give some weird stuff like blocks and string and stuff, and you have to like convey to other people a picture that you're drawing that's on the board. So you get these really abstract things, and you're trying to get people to guess which picture you're duplicating with your weird artsy stuff. So I have not played that. I haven't played any of these. The Crew one. The Crew is a trick-taking game, but it's a twist on the trick-taking game. It's a cooperative trick-taking game. I've heard really good things about this. It works by everyone being on the same team, by you guys giving clues to each other. You just have to, you have a bunch of objectives, and they get harder and harder as you go. But I hear that it's great. So if you love trick-taking games, this is a game for you. If you don't know what a trick-taking game is, probably not a game for you. But like hearts is a trick-taking game, or spades, or euchre, or pitch, or whatever you guys play. And then the kids' game was Hedgehog Roll, which I haven't played, but I'm sure it's a Haba game, because Haba does all the good games. Well, if you made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back. I mean, I'm not really sure how interesting this really was. I just wanted to do it. I feel like it could be really beneficial to someone out there. And the Spiel des Jahres is a great place to look for just the next cool game if you don't want to put any effort into it. But there is a website called Board Game Geek and a lot of YouTube channels that will go over the games. They have like a list, the top 100 board games of all time, ranked by people. And of the ones that I listed, you know, a couple of those, maybe none of them will be in the top 100. Because they're just going to tend to go for the heavier, more complex games. Medium weights are going to really do well. Medium heavy. Though this just gets more and more niche the heavier the game gets. So, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if that was helpful in the comments. I'm sorry for all the people that are going to leave comments saying, I don't want to watch tobacco, or I only want to watch tobacco videos. But it's in the title, so hopefully you guys can just be able to try some new games and have fun. It's COVID time, so staying inside with a family is a great way to play. You know, have time to play. All these games you will have to learn the rules, but they usually always have, I should have said this early because no one else is going to be watching this at this point, but YouTube videos on how to play all these games. You don't have to read any rule books for any of these, because there will be a YouTube video showing you this is how you play the game. I was trying to think of the YouTube video that does the best job and would have almost all of these. Watch It Played. He does a really good job. So just set an iPad, have everybody watch it and go. But anyway, everyone, you guys have a wonderful holidays. I will be doing another video next week. Staying home for Thanksgiving for one of the first times in a long time. So I'll be around to do another video for you guys, which will probably be a review of that Thanksgiving Day blend from LJ Peretti. So, my voice is gone. All right. Well, you guys all stay well. See ya.